No, look, I will declare the meeting open. Our the last meeting of this council, it's sad, isn't it? But, welcome.
Easy change it.
No, we can't easily change it, no. Anyway, welcome and apologies. I think we only have Jeff. Everyone else is here. So, Jeff Smith, would somebody know that we accept that apology? Councillor Egan, Councillor Logan, those in favour say aye. Okay. Now I'd ask for a waiver of the confirmation of the minutes of the ordinary confidential meetings on Thursday the 22nd of June. Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Felton, seconded. Councillor Matthews. Let me take it slow, the connection's slow. 12 for declarations of interest, gifts received and conflicts of interest. None at this stage. Now we have some additional late items that I would ask that you might consider including them on the agenda. And they are the big office replacement, alternate route provider. There's another one.
Investment.
The mayoral.
I have a mayoral, I didn't go to it.
Yeah, and there's also just acknowledging that we've circulated a late report about the July interest of investments in the banks.
Okay, all right. So there's all those things, but somebody move we accept one of the agenda, Councillor Egan. Councillor Logan, second that, I'll put the motion, those in favour, aye. Carry. Now, I'm going to do this late agenda on my mayoral minute.
Oh, it's not confidential.
Just two. All right. So we go to Office Report 7.1 Technical Services. Thank you, Alex.
Okay. Pretty standard month in the engineering department. Our two major projects, Albee Board and Canterbury Road, still on time and on budget. The Albee Board Road is scheduled to be finished by the end of September, and we've got the crew from the Canterbury Road travelling up to Albee Board to help knock that one complete. Some of those guys are doing a 300 kilometre round trip to get work, which is quite something. Another decent month at the truck wash, a little bit slower than the one before, but $11,000 of usage and 145 trucks is still a pretty significant big usage. If I could draw your attention to the Forward Works program, I'll just offer a quick explanation or summary of what is written there. What's presented here is in lieu of a rigid works program, and it's done in that fashion so that we maintain some flexibility to relocate staff, more resources as the need arises, whether it's to continue with existing natural disaster work, whether it's we get another big grant, whether the conditions of road change. So rather than saying these are the projects we're going to bite off this year, we're going to work within should the resolution be passed, we're going to work within our allocated budgets and simply start at the top of each road class and work our way through. What's presented is actually about 15 minutes per work.
So, but you're only going to attend those segments,
So those segments in the regional road and local road are only 250 metre segments, but I did put this somewhere in the report. If we're working on a segment and either side of it is perhaps not quite due for renewal but approaching renewal, it would make economic sense to do the adjacent segments in concert.
but it's 5 years down the track that may not happen.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. But anyway, at the moment, they're the segments that are bad, or not well need attention.
So Alex, just sorry to do this thing up, but yeah. So the number on that right hand side, that's the importance of that section of the road. Is that right?
Yeah, well, that's
I could have got the rest.
so we've taken the condition data that we have of the entire network.
Yep.
That's very comprehensive and very robust, but there are quite a lot of roads that are rated at the same end of the scale, so we had to introduce some other factors to split them. And what we've used primarily, at least in the regional roads, is heavy vehicle traffic count. So we've weighted heavy vehicle traffic count so it contributes to about 30% of the score,
Yeah.
and the condition contributes the remaining amount. So yes, the score on the right-hand side, the rehabilitation score, that's essentially the higher that number is, the closer to the top of the list.
And that's high on the
High
side
priority.
Yes.
So that means Elkin Road with number 21 against it is high on priority.
Yeah, it does. And on that topic, this was
Too.
quite an interesting process that we went through, did the prioritisation, and what came back via, this was from some fairly technical work, took quite a lot of time with the data capture in the field, with the AI camera and all the defect logging, along with our traffic count database and so on. The segments that came up as priorities were the ones that we knew were priorities that we were going to be working on anyway, which in my mind vindicates the process that we've been taking over the last 4 or 5 years since we've had flood damage to deal with. And if the audit office is listening to this, I'd like to note that, please.
Yeah, so the report you're getting back from the artificial intelligence matches up with what you see.
Yes, it does. Yeah, absolutely. And when we marry in the traffic factors, what we shortlisted as our immediate priorities were the ones that came to the top of the list anyway.
Well, that's the case, it's marvellous, but again, marvellous amount of data.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just on that, like if the bitumen's a bit patchy, will it pick that up as well? Like if it's a bit thick?
Yeah, it will. So you'll see that there's a surface score and a pavement score.
Yeah.
And the pavement score is for the gravel that's underneath the bitumen. The surface score includes things like rutting, potholes, stripping.
Yeah.
So yes, it absolutely does. Now these are rehabilitation priorities, which are quite separate to reseal priorities.
Yeah.
Reseal priorities.
I see that.
Yeah, will be basically primarily on surface condition.
These are dig out and do again.
Correct.
Yeah.
So do you think that, see your surface index, that's obviously below the road? Is that right? So
No, the pavement index is below the
the
road.
pavement index is below the road. So is the higher that score, or what's the highest score you can do? 10, is it?
Yes, yeah.
I don't know, I'm just curious just to see.
You got every road in there.
Yeah.
No, I haven't. I stopped at, if we had every road, that's a long list.
Yeah,
now.
I
Would
was
be,
looking for that road out the gully, it's got a potholes in it, I said, the gravel path.
yeah. No, this represents 10 to 15 years worth of work, and I drew the line there.
Can I go back a little bit and ask you, are you happy with the vacuum truck?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
What have you done with it?
Not hit Telstra cables.
Not what you mean by vacuum and do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Although it's a fantastic non-destructive way to find any kind of infrastructure, and sewer lines and water lines as well.
Yeah.
Very good backhoe operators will be able to feel through their sticks on their machine when they're on top of the pipe, which is quite an extraordinary skill.
But not a Telstra.
Indeed.
And have you cleaned out culverts with it?
It's been out on the Kenny Boundary Road.
Yeah.
Cleaned out some culverts there that were subsequently identified for replacement,
Yeah.
and that was an addition to that project. But no, it's so far been a good
You're
purpose.
happy with it?
Yes.
Okay.
I've still got Elkin Road issues. Rosewood Park, where I said there was a culvert on the western side of it towards, did you find that and see how bad it was?
Can I take that on notice? I'll flick a text message to our overseer and confirm.
Okay. Rosemary
Rosemary
Park,
Park,
not
yeah.
Rose.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a culvert just on the Moree side. Lee, you probably know better than me. Do you come over that way?
Elkin Road?
Yeah. What's the name of the culvert I want?
I don't know names of culverts.
Perhaps isn't
You're
it
very
named, but
lucky.
it's near Rosebery Park.
Yeah, it's the last one.
Yeah, I think it's the last one. Do you know?
Last one's between going that way.
Last one before Gravesend.
Yeah, before you turn.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
not the last one, because there's another little one there nearly at the.
Raspberry Park, that's where Mac Gilby owned it, that's one over here. The Gilby owned it, still does.
I'll tell you what I'll
It's
do.
the long flat one that the drainage has made the water
It's the
low.
drainage, it's
Yeah,
the
I know that.
flat of
Yeah.
the.
I think that is the last one.
I think it's the last one,
I'll have a look at our AOA asset inspection instead of waiting for.
because, I know when we went to Pally Markets the other day,
Is it full of water?
Well, it's never empty, because it can't drain, once grows up at the,
It's past Parliament, isn't it?
and it needs taking out, at
Yeah.
least you get drained.
I know that.
There's a big long flat causeway and then there's a real rough
And
real
lot of,
rough culvert just this side of Campbell's Lane.
Yeah, yeah.
lot
So
of.
any other questions for Alex?
And there's
this
a-
one, Old Kira Road, down the bottom of page 21. Have you, get lots of people asking, are we gonna do some work up there?
So that would be, there's,
Underneath the,
yeah, I've
Yeah.
found it. There's an awful lot of Mingara that's worse.
Yep.
And that's, one of the advantages of the process that we've gone through is that we've got
Categorising it.
pretty rigid engineering metrics to say what the condition of a particular piece of road is. So if, and we've taken this line, the engineering department has for a long time, if a piece of road that you have a concern about is not being worked on, it's only because there's a worse one somewhere else that we are
no,
working on it, and that would be the same in this scenario.
Alex, with this process you have, where you've got that down to 6, is that got the same score on bitumen road? Or are they, is the bitumen road a higher priority?
Sorry, you're on the urban streets here which are bitumen.
No, I'm talking about Kira Road as opposed to Warrior Road or something like that.
Sorry, you lost me, Mr.
Oh, well, I
Mayor.
don't know if Warrior Road's even on there, but I'm talking about, do they, is there a different score for a sealed road as opposed to something like Old Kira Road? That's probably sealed there.
It is sealed.
Oh,
It's sealed.
Kira
So-
Road, it's
Yeah.
only.
All right, but it's only a little way around.
Yes, there is a difference between,
Yeah.
on the unsealed and sealed. We used, and the process is detailed in the report, but essentially we did our own inspections, visual inspections, which is what's been our method for as long as I've been at council, which
Yeah.
is 12 years, 11 years. We do a visual inspection and assess pavement thinning.
Yeah.
Then we cross-referenced our inspection with the inspection that Shepard did with the RACA system.
Yeah.
And wherever roads were identified in both data sets,
Okay.
they made their way to the shortlist, and then they were prioritised based on traffic counts.
Yeah, that's logical, yeah. Any other questions, Alex? No? Well, then I'll ask for somebody to move the policy recommendation. That's the Colton and the second, Councillor Egan, put the motion laid, motion out. Aye. Carried, we go to 7.2, executive services.
Sorry, can I just ask that maybe I've got to get right through the roads again. I just want to mention the campground arena that the Hilltop show, volunteers there get a bit of a nod, we have a little bit of extra nod, could we just thank them for the efforts they put into,
Yeah, sure.
they deserve it. They've done a great job.
It's nice to recognise that. Let's see what we're going here. What the feedlot, hasn't advanced.
We're gonna do a tour of that, so I guess it'll be the next council.
It'll be the next council now. The Bogan subdivision. What's the request for additional information? Yeah, let's tell them.
Which one, sorry, Jonathan?
Well, the second one from the bottom of page 27.
So then,
That's one we know.
Oh, no, that's been provided.
Is it? This is that day. Okay. Does anyone got anything else to say, Mark? No? All right, I go on through the report.
What's going on?
None of them got anything else, Mark. Just to see, swimming pool wherever around, I guess I'll have to put the rain on it. It's very short of water at the gully. That's possible, we do it. With Nicholson Oval, we put it back to the Sports Council for a plaque. We have a decision on naming the building, but we suggest we have a plaque that everybody. There was a bit of angst about this, and everybody had made contributions. But we had conversations backwards and forwards, and they don't really want it. They said it's too hard. And I asked for a recommendation from them. I think what's going to come back is that they don't have a plaque. That would be very easy.
Yeah.
So I haven't got that yet.
Are we still naming?
Yeah. That's it's independent of the naming.
Yeah. And so when's that naming happening? Because that's been.
It could happen any time. And if they did want a plaque, it could go up any time.
Yeah, because that was quite a while ago that was brought up.
Mm.
We need to get onto that.
Anyway, the Sports Council in due course will get onto the council, and I suspect they had two options. One was the only names that they're going to put on the plaque, there was only 5, it was those that have worked all the junior sport before and after and during they had children there, and not those that were working there just because they had kids there. I thought that was fair enough, but that's getting hard too apparently, sort of electing.
It's always going to be someone.
Yeah.
Which was.
They're elected not to do it, I think. The Big Victoria Library, it was good from the outside.
It's good on the inside.
Looking right on the inside too.
Already got a rail, I don't know what to do with all the amenities, they've done well. And a lot of that goes to Colin Kuhl, who's come in under budget and had more money left over. Thank you. So that's a good thing. Anybody have anything?
Just to say that the grandstand, the birds at the grandstand was
Yeah.
without a doubt one of the best
Yeah,
achievements.
that's a good thing. I'll just make a comment, just a comment about the gully tip. Dug a dead animal pit. And I had a sheet there, and I put it in it, and the sheet was about level with the ground. It's not very deep. I'm wondering why. The dead animal pits I've seen in the past are really
Quite deep.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I think of that makes some sense. Not a complaint, it's just an observation. Mm.
Toilet was good, the new toilet at the bar on the rail.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it? That little shelter shed, picnic table, I mean, it's a pretty good little set. I was talking to Colin yesterday, they're going to look at all the.
Yeah.
Oh, well, there's a pretty dynamic group out there, aren't they, young people?
There is.
I think it's something like 50 kids, the right match, 50 kids?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm.
52 or something.
That's excellent.
We've got about 6 of them.
In case Catherine's wondering, the contract is 5 minutes.
It's not here,
Breaking
I've
out
watched
this way.
everything that comes now.
Have we got a big fabric pen or something? Or a sign of it?
He walks in.
I'd have to go on.
You can't sign it till you adopt the report anyway, can you? Hold it up.
So at the end of this report, I have an officer recommendation is the report be received, which I'd like to do that way. Unless you have further questions. Councillor Naim, Councillor Matthews,
Sorry?
those in favour say aye.
Aye. That's all.
Carried, thank you.
We can talk
I
about
just-
weeds.
Well, you could have done, I
I
called
know,
it,
we just skimmed too quick.
I called. David, would you like to do your bit up there?
Well, yes, thank you. I was just gonna bring it up in council report, but, I had a phone call from Ben Grieve. He's very concerned, he's lost another beast, and he said he's very conscious of Greencestrum, on his place. But, he said, I'm fighting a bit of a losing battle because there's a lot of Greencestrum in Halls Creek above the bridge, and particularly on the river, opposite the boat ramp, or where they pump the water. So he's just wondering if anything could be passed on to the weeds division, or whether anything or can be done, because it's obviously just going to find its way down the river over periods of time.
I can give him a heap more locations on the way on the creek if I need to.
Oh, sorry.
There's a lot of locations on the way on the creek if
Oh,
I need
yes,
to.
there's a heap of it about, and it's very deadly to stop. And so I think, if we could just ask the weeds, or whether something can be done, particularly in those public areas that we as council look after.
Where do we stand there?
Maybe control it.
Yeah, noxious weed.
It is,
It's unusual for stock to weed it though, when there's other food.
it's only going to take by suffering from the conditions of rock going.
Apparently, it's also, if you do cut it and just leave it, it becomes very palatable when it's dry, so just as deadly, so. It's just something that, Ian asked me to bring up, and so there it is. I'm just wondering if we could pass it on, whether there's anything we can do on areas that we are responsible, the council is responsible for.
Very hard to handle, there's millions of seeds, millions. Catherine, do you want to go back to this?
No, I'm happy that we've talked about
Halls Creek seems to be there.
No. Organisation Community Service Report.
The most exciting thing there, I think, is the renovation of the Memorial Information Centre. It, with the new works there, makes it twice the size it looked before.
Yeah.
So it'll be
Yeah,
It'll be open Monday.
No.
So, Graham, and he's gonna get some other men that can lift heavy stuff over the weekend, because the carpet's taking a little bit longer, but so it doesn't get delayed, he's gonna do it on the weekend, so we're good to go Monday morning at this stage.
That's good.
As long as carpet is completely done by
Yeah.
Friday, at this stage it'll still be Monday, which is very exciting.
Yes.
Sorry, I didn't mean to butt in, Leo, I just checked with Graham.
I'm pleased you did, because I would have had the weekend. Yes, but it's very, Graham showed me some photos yesterday, but an update on that, and they look really, really good. And it hasn't been too much of an inconvenience.
It's been pretty quick, hasn't it?
Yeah. Other than that, I'm happy to answer any questions on the standard statistics that are in the normal report.
They have left columns on, Hill is in there.
Yes.
Leah, sadly, we've lost quite a few residents from Nauru over the last period of time.
We shall have.
Have those positions been, like, is there enough people in waiting list to cover those?
The waiting list is there, but we've held over a few beds because of the renovation work. Got there yesterday, and the dementia wing is pretty much being decommissioned at the moment because we're changing things there. So as soon as we get that work finished, the beds will be full again, instead of a waiting list.
No, we've got a waiting list for people willing to go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
unfortunately, our waiting list is made up of mostly people from other areas.
Uh,
at the moment.
Still got to fill it, haven't
That's right.
That's right.
Run the divisions.
we? Yeah. Any questions for that? How does the morale of the staff go after all of these losses?
To be honest, we're getting recorded, the staff are being supported,
Yeah,
very well.
they need to be, they looking after someone for a while.
Yeah,
I guess
it's a
that's,
very tough job with
Yeah.
very ordinary pay
yeah,
and the emotion
Yeah.
that they,
And they become like family to staff.
Amy and I visited Nauru yesterday and let someone out. He looked like he was quite okay to us, but it was a mad panic and then so I think we're going to get our access cards taken off us, perhaps.
yeah. bloke there's very
because we
convincing.
can't pick them.
I've got a very convincing, he said, my wife's made him want me to let him down. I'm gonna let him down.
Well, this gentleman told us he was off to a town meeting.
Yeah,
He had a bit of paper, we thought that was.
yeah.
It's called paper.
It was like the lady that threw the suitcase over the fence and waited for the gardener to get out and he didn't latch the gate and off she took.
Very clever.
Funny enough, but you'd know this case.
One of them are,
There was a fellow that was he was a POW in the war, and he escaped there 3 times. The fences weren't going to stop him. He could dig under them or over them. Yeah, all
one
right.
of them over at Turieni. It was 6:30 in the morning and someone was going to work and they saw this lady trying to help this bloke over the fence.
No. Yeah.
Get him into it.
Yeah.
Any other questions on that? No? Then would somebody like to move recommendation report, please? Councillor Gowan, seconded by Councillor Mulligan. All those in favour say aye. No, Eric. We're going to you, Helen. Oh, yeah, you can see it.
Joe ignore me. Can I also do the July one, the
Right,
lay item
yeah.
at the same time?
It's a late item, isn't it?
So you will note that in the June meeting, it includes the full 12 months of our cash restriction for the financial year as required. Because every month when we do that report, there are always potential changes, so we have done every month again. There is still potential for June to change from there, but hopefully it won't because statements are 75% complete already.
Yeah.
The team's been working really, really hard to get it sorted so that it's all on time. Rates collection was just slightly below at the end of the year than the previous 2 years.
No, it wasn't that.
No, but you will note in the July report, rates collection is down. We haven't investigated too much, but I think it will probably have to do with all of the rates write-offs and the sale for unpaid rates that have been processed in July.
Is that graph impacted by the sale of the books?
Yeah, because they're all adjustments within the
Yeah.
rateable values and stuff, so, and back in the June report, you'll see there's that little section there for the sale for unpaid rates. So the total sale, we grossed $548,000 at the auction. Of that money, there's $343,000 that has to go to the beneficiaries of those properties, but we have recouped $204,000.
That amount that went back to the owners.
Yep.
Did the rates come off that first?
Yes.
Yeah.
Anything outstanding, yes.
Yeah.
So, and so the properties that didn't sell for the value of what was outstanding on them, we did lose $100,000 on those ones. But we have recouped. It was definitely worth it. It's still ongoing, unfortunately, with a couple of properties.
They're all written off and it's like almost a clean slate, so.
Yes, yes.
So then what was the total amount that was received out of the whole thing?
548,000 was the total sale.
Yeah, so then the total recoup by the time you take all the rates out was the 204.
Yes,
is that right?
204, yeah.
Yeah.
So all the fees that are associated with it all come out of the proceeds of sale, so it's been a good result. It's just a very long-winded process.
So is there many of the properties didn't sell?
They all sold.
Oh, they all sold.
Yes, there's just a few that are taking a little while to get over the line since then. But they
Some
did
of them
all.
sold for exorbitant amount of money.
Yes,
Some of them.
yes. The highest property is $270,000.
Yeah, right.
So.
And so in that amount of rates, was that also, do they have the interest factor in it as well?
Yep, everything's included, the cost of the auction people, the recouper, everything, we take everything we can. So, the next council will have to decide whether we wait another 12 years or we do it sooner than that.
So 5 years would be more appropriate, wouldn't it?
I think so. There's a lot that, yeah. There were some that were close, but not quite there this time, so we will definitely have more the next time, but.
Any other questions, Helen? I asked, Next one, the mayor votes to adjourn until our monthly.
Move both those.
Thank you, councillor John. Second. Councillor Dixon, those opposed, say aye. It's now carried. Now, this next item, item 7.5, with the permission of the council, we'll not be able to put that over the confidential session. Would you be happy to do that? No, 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 just a consensus.
No, it's-
Consensus. We might do that if we can, please. I don't know, this way.
The reasoning is, subsection C, it relates to someone that we're doing business with.
Yeah. Now, our next item is Mayor.
95.
25, is it? Thank you.
Risk management fund.
Oh, yes, okay.
95.
Anybody comment on this? It's just it's there for your notation, really, isn't it?
No, well, it's, yes, Justin.
Yes, I'm sure everyone went through it in fine detail. There's something we've got to have as a part of the IPNR suite of documents now, and it's pretty much just outlining our commitment to risk, how to go about a risk assessment essentially for our staff, and then outlining our new risk matrix and appetites and tolerances with some pretty key examples there for people to follow along. So there's nothing controversial about it.
So by doing this, Justin, you recognise that we needed to generate for purposes.
Yeah, well, we have to have one as a part of IPNR, and we've got to attest to it in our annual report, but we may as well do it properly and have it there as a pretty good guide as well. It has been ARIC as well.
Yeah,
was
I
noted.
say that, we've looked at it there. Okay, so is there any questions, Justin? You're going to move that the risk management framework is adopted. Councillor Egan, and second it. Councillor Mulligan, I put those motions on that. Aye. It's carried. Now we go to page 129. That's the draft service review report.
Which is me once again.
Yes.
So you've probably heard me a few times mention about having to do service reviews. As of the next council, they're mandatory. So this year we picked a couple to do. There was no particular reason for these two, except they'll probably be a bit easier than the others. The first one, stores, on page 134 of the agenda. There's, how many recommendations did I put in? I think there was 20 for stores. Most of them are operational. It's just we need to start doing things a little better around the procurement side. It's just all a bit old hat, and I think the systems that we've used have changed that much, but we haven't adapted to them. So there's nothing particularly glaring in there or controversial from a councillor perspective. There is some recommendations around structure changes, but it's mainly aligning our procurement with our stores.
But there's been no problem there, is it? There wasn't a problem that generated this, was it?
Yeah, no, it's just would be good to realign it and look back for our operational side of things.
Any questions?
Well, just to say, what do you call stores?
So all our inventory control essentially at the depot.
So it's solely the depot, not the office?
There is some other stores about, but it's mainly at the depot, yeah.
It's a big deal, that stores on, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like
Which is
makes.
just PPE.
And it's defining in here about what we should be keeping on hand as well. There's some recommendations there.
Yeah, reduce your stock.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there any questions further? Can I get a neighbour of the recommendation? Yeah. Councillor Dixon, thank you. Councillor Moore, those in favour say aye. Aye. Carried. Now we go to 157.
An action, I also should mention an action plan will be put together for all those recommendations, and it'll keep going to ARIC and council for progress going forward. The parks and gardens, it's very similar. At the time that this was written, and I did interviews, it was when we were having some issues around staffing at Warwick Elder, so just which should be resolved now, just to point that out. I think the most...
Sorry, Justin, I would just interrupt to add that the structure and management of Parks and Gardens has also changed
Yeah.
since this review was done.
You've got the one head,
Yes.
I think the main thing to point out here is that there's some service levels defined, which would maybe reduce some of the work that we do in Parks and Gardens as in frequency of maintenance.
Yeah.
Which is something that probably has to be adopted and endorsed by council. I don't think really it would make much difference in the aesthetics of the town. I think we can fairly easily reduce a little bit. It's just, they're doing it on a 2-week cycle currently, and it's a bit excessive.
Labour service, yeah.
The
Yeah,
gentleman that Justin worked with doing the interviews said to me that he has not come across a council that offers a higher level of service with Parks and Gardens.
Yeah. I don't believe that.
so it's just putting some of the lower priority parks back a little bit. You'd still have your premier parks, or whatever I put it down as your high priority parks, as pretty frequently maintained, but there's also the opportunity to maybe reclassify some as regenerative areas and not have to maintain them at all. So, and the rest is just operational things about making things a bit more productive and removing the north and south from the Parks and Gardens as well, and continuing that on with what Alex has done in engineering.
Questions, Justin? Move with them, please. On the recommendation. Parks and Gardens Service Review Report is noted.
That's very good.
Yeah. Councillor Ryan and Councillor Dixon. Put that motion as say aye, in favour say aye. Okay. Now the draft organisation structure.
We're going to have such a large number of new council, and one of the first jobs we've got is to adopt the structure. I thought it would be appropriate for this council to at least indicate that sort of structure.
Coming through very well on the microphone,
Yeah.
it's actually got a job to pick
The
it up.
microphone doesn't work at all, it's only that thing down there today. We've got a glitch. That structure hasn't changed as it makes, I can't. think
No,
of
it
it.
hasn't changed.
No.
What's the, so that position that's vacant,
Yep,
whose was that?
Glenn Pereira originally, back
Yeah, there hasn't been anyone in that position for some time.
So it's not a new position?
No, it's been an unfilled position for a long time.
The bulk of that responsibility, those people answering directly to Max, so it has changed from the one that we've been operating under for a little while, but it's pretty much gone back to what was before. When Glenn was made redundant and Roger moved on before him, they weren't replaced. Those functions pretty much entered straight to Max.
So that plan, as we see it there, that was sort of, those people were distributed amongst other people or just being looked after by Max?
Yeah.
And so
Very important.
what you're proposing is that we fill that position and it becomes a director, so that will be another director.
Yeah, it'll be back to where we were, I don't know, 7 years ago or something. And I believe that it's definitely there.
But it'll be something for the next council to
Yeah.
decide.
We're going to make a recommendation.
You suggest this to the new council, and also it moves the chief finance officer up to the level of director as well.
Which is warranted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we have an internal recommendation that if you will fill that position, or is it something they'll have to?
I think they're pretty hard to come by.
I'd like to think that we'd be able to find someone internally for that position.
And so therefore we'll try and fill it internally, but only
Yeah.
as far as we can do.
Now, sorry for all the questions,
No problem.
but, okay, so we've got, that will be a position, so go back to what you originally had when Glenn was here. But just say looking forward, when Max goes, that will change the whole scheme of things again, won't it?
No, it'll just be a different name.
But it will mean that they'll need someone in that director position.
Yeah, because the next GM mightn't have,
No, that's right.
the next GM mightn't have
Planning skills.
and mightn't be able to take on the other.
Yeah,
Who knows?
yeah, that's good.
So it's a pretty big decision because it's,
Well, I think that the point
It's
is, there's a need to fill that vacant position.
yeah.
And it'll always be the GM that does the audit and everything,
Yeah,
so.
Is that the structure of most other councils?
Oh, each council's different, but it's pretty standard, this sort of thing.
any more questions?
I've got one more question.
Yeah.
I don't know whether it works, sorry, no pain, but if you don't ask, you don't know. If, and I've asked this before, like we've got a lot of people at the moment and we're terribly lucky and we spoke about this last night, people that we've trained from the ground up and there's been people that have stayed with us. Are we able, and I know it's not in the whatever at the moment, but can we write it in that people that we're putting through uni and that they give us 5 years?
It's very hard to, do that. I'm not sure, we've got a pretty good success rate, I don't think people leave all that often, do you?
No, I'm just asking.
I think that if, I'll probably take a view that's a bit different perhaps to the broader view, but I see local government overall as an industry, and where we poach people from other councils, some people will poach people from us, but if you've got a pool of talent within the industry, it's good for everyone. But I think the way that I see it, this council is very good, I think, at maintaining the staffing levels for the positions that it wants to maintain. We don't make people feel as though they're not appreciated or underpaid. I think we pay quite well compared to the market that we're in. But you want to hear from other staff members, I think it's probably more important than me. I might have a rosy view.
I've always say something, and you know that, Max, but I think I agree with Max. I mean, yeah, we're here because we want to be here, and I mean, I've been here for quite a while, and I've done different jobs in the organisation, but Max is correct in what he says, it's good employment conditions. I mean, councillors, we've had a really good bunch of councillors, and we've been really lucky to have that, but we've had a good bunch of senior staff as well, and executive staff I probably mean, but and we pretty much stayed here because we enjoy what we do, and I mean, we enjoy the environment we work in. I mean, I think we've got good paying conditions. I think that sets us apart from some of the other councils that I know people work at. So.
Oh no, I'm not saying that. These were just questions.
But I think if you make an environment that people want to stay in, I think that's what we do. People will stay. I mean, and I probably see more plan operator type people move on than
Absolutely.
Because, and it's something, and Alex will attest to this, there's probably nothing worse than training up a truck driver to see him leave and go to the mines.
Oh yeah, totally agree.
But it happens, I mean, people chase money. And we just unfortunately can't pay the money mines pay and stuff like that. But I think, it's, we all sort of seem to get on, and like them, all the business units, we all sort of work well together, and I mean, we stay here because we like being here. So
If I
if you make an
think
environment, they'll stay.
where we are a little bit unique, and it's probably due to our size and our location, is quite often we're able to offer more than just a job. It's a career path. So somebody might come in as a trainee, might come in as a casual draftsman like I was, and there are steps quite easily to jump from one to the other and move up. So I don't think there's a huge risk, and I agree with Max's comments that I don't think we lose a lot of trainees. We lose trainee plant operators. That's not unusual that we put somebody through a Cert 3 in civil construction and they'll move on to the mines or private enterprise where the hourly rate may be higher. But I think by and large we got a pretty engaged and satisfied workforce.
I think if we compare ourselves like we do osmotically with neighbouring councils, and I'm just looking around this room and every staff member that you've got grew up in the organisation pretty much, but I think effective leadership is what keeps us here as well. I'm fearful of what the new council makeup will be and concerned who the next GM will be, because if you get a shithouse leader, that's when people start dropping off too.
Yeah.
And I don't mean to give Max any praise because he hates it, but if he wasn't the stable influence that we've had since amalgamation, and if he didn't have the mindset he has with growing us all and paying us appropriately, we wouldn't have the organisation we have today. It's fair enough to say.
Well, the stability is a big important part, and it is stable, when you come to work tomorrow, there's a job there.
Yeah.
There's not somebody fighting and carrying on. I hope that continues.
It's one of the things we heard at one of the conferences where, and I can't think which council it was we were talking to, and they'd had a series every 18 months, 2 years. They had a new GM and there was no stability in there.
Welcome.
Well, was it? Yeah, just remember that.
And I think that's something we have to be mindful of when choosing.
And we certainly, when we have a position come up, particularly a key position, and also when we think about succession planning, the very first place we look is internal. We don't presume that there's anyone better outside, and we look at we accommodate what people's interests are too. Our little trainee planners, I think they're going to be our shining light in the future to come and in the future. And I think we'll be the envy of most councils that can't get planners because we've grown our own, and hopefully we'll keep them because they're happy to come here.
No, rather was taking people. We were the envy of a lot of councils, weren't we?
Well,
Our people stayed.
when a neighbouring council had, depending on whose report, you listen to, up to 70 vacancies, and we did not lose a single staff member in rail.
No.
I think that speaks very strongly to what everybody's just said.
And we've all had job offers, but it's too good here to leave.
I think the secret's morale, isn't it?
Yeah.
We've got a very high morale right throughout our organisation. It hasn't always had that, but we have at the moment, and that's why you want to come to work.
And it starts with leadership, and I'd be as bold to say that possibly some of the problems we've had lower down is because we haven't had as stronger leaders or as embraced, perhaps, might have led to some of the turnover, but that's something we're focused on in our training as well, growing leaders in the ranks.
But as far as trying to bond someone here, because we're educating them, pretty difficult to do, and you're going to find that people won't want to do this because they'd be bonded, and they might not want to be. But anyway, so we don't do that, and it's worked so well.
It's not legal. We did look into it, Tiff, to answer your question originally. We're back, and we can't make people do anything they don't want to do.
That's right.
The only thing we could do legally is have in their contract or in our policy that they repay a portion of their training costs, which is a road we haven't gone down because we're a learning organisation.
All right, any other questions? I'm looking for a mover of the recommendation that the draft organisation structure is enforced. Councillor Regan, Councillor Dalton. Information as imposed. Okay, thank you, I think the structure's fine. Now, minutes of the Audit, Risk and Improvement Committee, and how many people read them? we were talking this morning amongst ourselves and,
Here's the full copy.
yeah. We just think that could be improved. I think that well, there's a couple of things. I think that it's going to change in that none of the councillors or the mayor can sit on that committee, which is absolutely crazy. Because at the moment, we've got just a citizen sitting on it, and he's a terrific fellow, but he doesn't know what's going on. He comes to the meetings and I feel for him. I think that's what's going to happen if we take the input from the elected members out. That seems to be what the Auditor General wants, isn't it?
Jack, the chair, did say he was attending a conference / workshop between that meeting and our next meeting to find out more on what the rules and regulations will be, and he's going to bring a report back to the next ARIC meeting. We just can't set a date for that ARIC meeting yet until you have a new council.
No, that's right.
Why don't they just get up and say to the council, as long as they can't have any voting, they can have input but no voting?
We sort of don't vote that in so much as it's just a general discussion and a decision. It seems like everyone's.
But as long as the council didn't have any responsibility in making that decision, you let the independent people make it. I can't see what's wrong with that.
But the independent people, apart from the chair, are uninformed. It's not all that good, I don't think. I mean, we cover a lot of territory and I think we get in deep too, but no, I don't know. Let's know what the future of it's going to be.
And that's push us along the path of
Yeah.
doing policy and
Whatever changes come into effect, they're going to cost council a lot more money. They're expecting it to cost up to $100,000 to have an ARIC committee when the new regulations do come in, so.
Because of the fees.
Yeah, because the committee people are going to have to be paid a reasonable sum of money because of the work that's going to be expected of them to get done.
I can tell you that Nick Tobin's accepted the chair. 3 committees, I think. They're all, you can go do them one day after the other and they're all in proximity. And that's probably what we'll have to look at. So, it probably doesn't charge any less. What was that? Well, just recommendations, the minutes of the Audit Risk and Improvement Committee meeting held on 8th of July be received, obviously. So we don't have to move that way. I'll take questions of course. Did you get someone? Yeah. Second day? Okay, second.
Oh.
Absolutely. Councillor
Councillor was all there.
How difficult to hear you today, Mr.
Oh, well, I guess you're getting old. Councillor.
We're retiring.
Is that all right?
Oh, you're getting quiet.
You heard that all right. Now, next item is the
Action progress report.
117.
Yes, thank you. Oh, that's that's for your light reading.
It's all on track.
There's no action required there, is it?
Just received.
Is it? I can't see it.
Yeah, it's on page 217, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Yeah, all right. Well, I'll take that recommendation. I'll ask for a report to it. Oh, I'll move. I thought Councillor Ronald had that one. You moved it. She moved it. I thought, oh, and seconded Councillor Galvin. I'll put the motion on those in favour. Say aye. Carried. Good. And we're up to Councillor. What do we have to do? July investment, is it?
Yep.
Yeah, we have done that. So it's councillors' reports. So I will go around the room. Councillor Regan.
Well, I was just going to comment on the draft arenas program and all that program facilities, great. I'm signing off on a lot of things.
I think that your report should include the improvements in the last 20 years since you've been on council. It is massive.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If I look across the Shire, you cannot believe.
I just talked to Sharon.
Yeah, I know the showground, but then I start and I think,
Yeah.
I wish when I first came on because I had to wear black all the time because of the report we've got $4.7 or whatever it was $1 million worth of
Yeah.
water,
Water treatment.
there's just so much in 20 years that I'm just in awe of what we've achieved in 20 years, so. Thank you very much.
Thanks for your Councillor Cullen.
I've got one, but I'd like to keep it for confidential.
Okay, fair enough. Councillor Cullen. Nothing. Somebody put a tick on the wall.
You'll miss me.
Oh, where we go? Councillor Matthews, you have any?
I received correspondence from a chap called Ralph, whose family name I can't recall. About the status of the Campbell Bridge.
Yeah, we've all got that.
Everyone's got it.
Alex, yeah, I'd like to. And it was a very, very good letter, wasn't it?
It was a pretty thorough report.
Yeah,
I mean,
it
it's not used a lot of accurate instruments, but
No, but it was.
Mr Waters is a very educated man. His background's in electroacoustical engineering. It's not specifically civil engineering, and a lot of his observations and measurements are based on that background. I don't have the credentials to categorically say whether his findings are correct or incorrect because they are a little bit niche. I passed on his report in its whole to Transport for New South Wales, and I've requested written responses to all the points that he has raised.
Did everybody get that report from Waters? You didn't send it? All right, well, maybe we can send it out. It's an interesting letter, really interesting.
I think that it's unlikely that his conclusion that the bridge is in imminent danger of catastrophic collapse will eventuate.
No.
Transport for New South Wales are a very risk-averse organisation, and they have plans, I think this financial year, to replace all of the bearing material on that entire bridge and lift it off its foundations and redo the bearings. I think if they're going to efforts as serious as that, then their technical bridge people have done a deep dive into the status of the bridge.
so that was the other part of my question, was what progress, if any, has there been with Transport New South Wales as far as making that undertaking, and that's what you explained there.
Yeah. And the other thing is, when I drive over that bridge, I go very quick now.
And I hate
And hope the motorbike's not the other side.
I hate to be picking up the pieces from a semi that went through the
Yeah.
Just hope there's water underneath it.
That's all from me.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, just a couple of things. Warrior swimming pool, when do we expect the artwork and that to be done on that?
I was speaking with the sign writer about that on the way in today, within a fortnight.
Oh, well, that's beautiful. Have we heard anything back from the little kindy, the preschool people?
Meeting with them tomorrow in Tamworth.
Oh, good.
On that?
Can I ask you something about that, or when you finish, I'll ask, because I was going to.
Well, it's on that subject, like.
It's on-
Yeah, keep going with
Yeah.
it. Keep going, what you want to do?
Because I did hear, and I don't know whether it's just rumour, but I did hear one of our employees is relocating to Inverell because he can't get daycare in town.
No, right, yeah. That's what we're trying to prevent. Has
think we should do
been any talks with Warrior Preschool?
No, not
No,
yet.
okay.
After tomorrow, I hope we'll have a lot more information.
It's looking pretty hopeful, okay, that
Oh, that's
they're
good.
going to participate, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, that's very good.
Has anyone spoken to Walker or anyone around there to find out how they?
Not yet. Tomorrow's all about getting down to the nitty gritty and what they've got to offer, and then we'll go to Walker and a couple of other places to see how they've found it and what happened with the introduction of them into their community.
Correct me if I'm wrong, they've done their due diligence and they think it can work, is that correct?
They have, yes.
Yeah, they have. Yeah.
And they employ local people, don't they? Like
Yes.
yeah. So really, unless there's anything major, it should be a positive.
I hope so.
I hope so
We
too.
have to get the concurrence, we can't remember what it is.
I don't think they'll have any trouble getting
Sorry to hijack your report there, councillor Moore.
Yes, sorry, it's just on the
Just
same.
on that little Kendi thing, when I was getting my hair cut, Sonia, the Renrod hairdresser, said, you know, she heard that there may be a preschool
Yeah.
starting up, and she said they're quite willing to move back from Inverell to Warriola.
No, that's,
Yeah, anyway, that's okay. Alex, bins at IGA, the boards are falling off from there and they're just kicked underneath the bins.
the next councillor will fix that.
Yeah, they can fix that, yeah. And also
Should be Alex.
Well,
Can you just go through that again? Because
the bin in front of IGA, the boards are falling off the surrounds
You know,
and they're just kicked underneath.
And the bakery.
Yeah. Then the bakery needs, there's two bins there, they need to be split up, one put up the street and one down the street a bit or something.
you phrased that before,
Yeah.
Probably need
No,
more
those
bins.
bins were overflowing.
And, yeah, streets and that, we still got a contractor doing those, Alex?
No, the contractor that we had engaged relinquished his contract. We will be doing that service internally again for the time being with our skid steer and broom. We are 3 positions short in our urban infrastructure crew, and we have interviews tomorrow, and there's at least 3 good candidates in fray. So that is probably something that you may have seen drop off. Staffing's been the reason behind that.
That's okay. No, that'll do, mate.
okay, councillor Dixon.
Yes, Alex, could you tell me, that end of Riddell Street and the footpath opposite the Oval, is it going to be done? Round the corner there was done, but the footpath up to the next intersection,
On the eastern side of,
just down here.
yeah.
Yeah,
I'll have to check what's in our program, councillor Dixon, and get back. I'll have an answer for you this afternoon.
okay, whenever.
Councillor Lane.
Yeah, a couple of things. I'll just comment to say, the roads are taking a real pounding with the weather lately. Sort of keeps raining all the time, every weekend it seems to keep raining. I was going to bring up the little kitty, but there was the other problem that's going to do the housing. Was it whatever happened with that?
Yeah, let's still go with that.
Yeah, I just haven't got back to it.
So it is still.
It's not off the drawing board, yeah.
Yeah, I was just thinking of the council's wife, there you go, finishing up. The other thing was I attended that Murray Basin Association meeting down in Tamworth. I mean, it's not probably really applicable to us, but there's a lot of councils obviously affected with all these tendering process with the government buying back water.
Buybacks, yeah.
And look, there's a little bit of a spat seems to be every time goes on between the north and the south, particularly now that targeting Lower Ballon and having a go down south. I mean, thank goodness the ministers got up and said something and they took all the heat, so they did. And there's a lot of angst in a lot of councils. It's not going to affect us that much.
No.
But obviously it's quite interesting, the councils probably most affected were probably back to the Westlands and they didn't have any bodies there. So they didn't, but yeah.
Then, effective one.
So yeah, interesting, but yeah, no, it doesn't really affect us. So.
No. Anyway, it's good to be there and participate.
They had a very good crowd there.
Yeah.
But like I say, it's more that if there's an issue, that's when people get drummed up. So of course, Lower Queensland were there and down south were there, and banging away at the minister the whole time.
No, thanks. I don't think I have anything to council. So a bit at the end of the meeting, probably. Right. So that's that. Now we're happy to go into have a cup of tea.
Are we going to sign the contract?
No?
We're going to
Yeah,
sign the
could we
contract?
please do that so as we know that it's.
What contract's that?
The contract.
Probably leave that to the new council.
Yeah. Yeah, leave it for another month.
No, it can't happen.
Leave it for another month.
Instead of stay on council.
Do you want to do that, do you? You got a photograph of it?
Yeah, you and Catherine can sign it and take photographs.
So I'll just give you a little update. Obviously, we now have an amended contract. The contract was amended, which I think, Max, did you advise council? Yeah. So that was as a result of the, obviously some changes that the regional planning panel wanted designed. So the contract's been updated. Just on the site, the contaminated material's now been removed. Peter Taylor is doing some testing in Warriola at the site, Sea Grain site there today. So he's going
I'm
to
not sure if the councillors knew there was contaminated soil on the site,
I don't think.
but it's been removed.
Oh, right. Yeah. So it was remediated. We had to mix it with other clean soil to get prescribed limits of contaminants below a certain threshold.
Was it nickel?
Nickel.
Yeah, there was some petrochemical contamination, but yeah, it was nickel was the odd one, but I think it was naturally occurring in the soil, but it was still higher than normal threshold, so they mixed it with a bit more clean soil until they got it down below limits.
So is that because of?
Stuff they cleaned up in China?
No, unfortunately not, but yeah, no, we took it out of the landfill, so.
So is that big lump of concrete gone? Did you dig it?
Yeah, that's all gone.
Yeah.
Was that because of the old underground petrol tank that was?
Well, I think because, and I think there was a high concentration of lead too, but I'm not sure about the nickel, like it is naturally occurring, but I don't know what process might have contributed to the excess nickel, but the lead, obviously because they used to use batteries and there was lead paint on building that's.
The lead petrol.
Yeah, lead petrol, yeah, so. But anyway, so that's all we're taking at landfill now. We've just got to get a validation report from Peter Taylor from SMK, so he's going to call back around and hopefully take some samples. We should have that pretty soon.
But if the stuff's stuck underneath the building, what does it matter?
Yeah, I don't know, they think it might leak stuff through.
Who cares?
It was a bit like that, was it the residential subdivision over in Armadale, they had to move out, they built on a landfill or something, yeah. So basically, we need to fill the site now. That's the next step. Once we get a validation report, we need to bring material in, and Alex is all over that. His staff are going to do that, and then once we present them with a pad, they can sort of start building. We're still going to get the construction certificate approved yet, but that's we had to wait. Well, some of the stuff we'd already started to feed the certified to get a head start on that. But there are a few things which were conditions of consent in the DA. We had to wait and see, and he's working on those at the moment. So I don't think that's going to hold us up because obviously, like I said, we've got to get the site filled. We do have a contract here signed today, which is good.
The contractor's ready to go?
Sorry?
The contractor is ready to start?
Yeah, pretty much. He's been ready for a couple of months, so I think they're sort of ready to crack.
And it was still 44 weeks or?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
42, 44.
Yeah. So there's a bucket load of documentation here. I don't know what part we have to sign.
I ask you a pretty irrelevant question, probably, but you see going for the generator, which I think is a great idea.
Yes.
Does it matter if you're going to have a delay when there's a blackout and then the generator kicks in? Will that make a difference? I understand these are all battery backup.
Yeah, I think as soon as it detects, I think it will be automatic detection, so as soon as it detects the loss of mains power.
There'll be a loss. There'll be no power for a little while.
Oh, no, I think there might be a brief split second where the generator kicks in, that's
Do you think that's all it is?
Well, I expect so, I mean, that's the way.
It's going to start.
That's the way the Nauru one.
Coal, diesel, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, but, like if there's a 10-minute delay, it's better than 6 seconds.
No, I agree. The question was really, are you having provision for that? Will there be batteries there to take over as soon as the power stops? And then your generator kicks in, or you don't?
No, there'll be no battery backup. No, there's no battery backup. I mean, there is solar on it, but they don't have battery backup.
No.
So that's just
Right,
so. But that was sort of more, and Justin highlighted that, for business continuity, for computers and whatnot, if power goes down, which it seems to.
We seem to be having a
quite a regular occasion.
Barnaby will fix it, don't worry.
This is just for my interest. How many kVA's generator?
I can't tell you that.
Okay. I'd like to have a question.
Sorry, I'll get back to you on that. I will get back to you on that, But they had to modify the switchboard for that. But also for the EV charging station, they had to modify it to accept that because they had to run another circuit.
So the generator would require a separate building?
It's in an enclosure down the back towards where the workshop is. So it's just in an enclosure. It's outdoors in an enclosure. Yeah, so it's it's a fair way away. It's from there. It's right.
Just for your information, we've installed a backup generator at the clinic, and there's no lag time.
No lag time?
No lag time.
I don't understand how that works.
I know when we're looking at options for Nauru, there's a couple of different options. One required manual intervention.
Yeah.
So you would have to ring someone up at 3 o'clock in the morning to go down and switch it on, and we said, well, that's no good. But there was an automatic one where it just detects the the loss of mains power, and then it just basically kicks in again. So,
The one at the hospital when the power used to go out, and even if it was just a split second, the power went out, it would come on.
back on, yeah. Okay. So contracts here to sign, so the contract sum is $6,037,630.06. And I had the discussion.
Say it fast, it sounds better.
Sorry.
Say it fast, it sounds better.
6.037 sounds good. And I had the discussion with Owen from Struxy on Monday, I think. And I said, look, our appetite for an increase in the costs like for extras along the way is very low. I said, we're pretty much at maximum. Now they've made Shea Brennan aware of that, and they basically said if anything pops up along the way that may increase the contract sum, that they'll be looking for savings elsewhere to offset it. So I think the doc you've gone through. There's been a lot of investigation, design, documentation. So I think everything is pretty well covered. I think you opened yourself up to having a lot of opportunity for additional cost where things aren't as well planned out, designed. Because obviously, there's bits and pieces. I think they've been pretty thorough in their approach, and
You'll be overseeing it.
time will tell. Sorry.
Are you going to oversee it?
Well, I think I'll adopt an overall sort of overseeing role, but Struxy and the relevant contractors will oversee their parts of it. But I hope to be able to project liaison, I suppose, is probably not really a project management role, but more of a project liaison. What
do you estimate it will cost to fit it out with this?
So we've allowed in the current capital budget $150,000 for furniture and fittings. They're pretty much allowed for blinds, that sort of stuff, but no desks, no tables, no, and even like IT wise, I haven't provided, allowed for TV screens and that. All the hard wiring's in there, but soft wiring and other items aren't. So, but that's nothing. I mean, we've got, I guess, stuff else there we can utilise already, like we've had the store and that. And obviously, if they need other IT equipment, I'll budget for that along the way. And I look, honestly, we just had a bit of a guesstimate on the furniture, but obviously we'll work within that budget. I mean, that's a fair chunk of furniture, 150 million. So, I'm hoping that we don't come in there.
Colin, the acoustic wall that you mentioned. I thought when we went to Toowoomba and looked, that we saw an acoustic wall and that was inclusive of the tunnel.
Yeah, well, it is. It's in. I went through that documentation. There was something saying that was excluded, but they've allowed a provisional sum. I think it was 50,000 or something like that for that acoustic wall. Yeah. There's a couple of things which have changed. They've changed. Initially, there was going to be concrete tilt panels up against the wall where Pally Styles is. We're actually changing that to a concrete block wall now.
I saw that.
So
And that's saving.
and the reason for that was is what they want to try and do. It's on a bit of a splay. It's a funny bloody angle. So what they'll build parallel to that wall on the outside, but on the inside there'll be a stud wall, which will be square. So there'll be like a little wedge of internal wall you'll never see. It'll be a little void in there. So so and the idea is, and I think I said before, is they'll build that block wall sort of basically right next to Pally Styles wall, and the intent is to cap both walls to try and seal Pally Styles wall off as well, because they're going to have, they've probably got issues with it now, like with Dan getting those porous bricks, the same sort of bricks. But obviously we've got to have that discussion with Pally Styles too, but it will benefit them. But there's, like I said, there's been a lot of work put into it. So but I sort of last talked to Brian Owen this morning when there was a mad rush to get the contract back and get it all printed, and they were just about to step on the plane in Cairns. So I did try and ring them a while ago, but they're obviously still in the air. So I've had a job up there. They've been out to the last couple of days.
So Colin, is that Stussy one? Are they the certifier?
Sorry,
are they the certifier?
No, they're the architect.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
are.
so their designers, Struxy.
So you sign off on it, basically?
No, I can't sign off on it.
So who signs off on it?
We've got a certifier in Tamworth doing the certification.
Somebody else does it.
Yeah, no, we had to have an independent certifier,
Yeah.
same as the DA, like we couldn't determine it. Yeah, so the planner that Struxy used was a company called Revolution Town Planning in Toowoomba. So they lodged the application on our behalf,
Yeah.
and that's determined by the planning panel. Yeah, probably looked like a bit of an inside job if we.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It might be there from it.
Yeah, so it's all been like, it's all independent, which is good. And,
So when do you think it'll actually start?
I honestly think September is a reasonable expectation. I suppose part of it depends on how quickly Alex's crews can get in there now that we've had clearance, and he couldn't get in there any sooner because we actually need
Feeling there might be some
clearance.
pressure on this topic.
Sorry, Alex, I wouldn't hit the deep. Yeah.
You need truck drivers.
Another orange and coke to settle it down.
But yeah, we couldn't move any quicker on that because we actually had to wait to get rid of the contaminated material. And so because it rains every weekend, as Linda was reporting.
Just wondering whether we should be taking out a mining licence of some sort just to cover us.
Yeah, so, all
That's just.
We've just got one more thing before we go to the close. Thank you, sir. That's,
You were put in front of you at the meeting, you noticed of the local government New South Wales pointing out that they're calling for motions. Now, if there are any motions that someone believes they'll look forward to a conference in November, I need to know fairly soon, because we're going to have them in by 16th of August.
that's conferences in 10 months.
Yeah. So, I couldn't think of anyone when I received that notice, but I thought I should give you the opportunity. The new council do have a chance to put in a late motion up to the 20th of October, so.
Well, that's good. Leave it to them.
I just had a flashback to Angela Daring. Every time Max used to ask that, she'd talk about daylight saving. Every time.
New South Wales already got that covered.
All right, well, I need a move that we go into confidential session. Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Matthews, second that motion, those in favour say aye. Aye. Against, now carried. Thank you.
I think you might have been asked.
Well, the recommendations from the confidential session, the Confidential Organisation and Community Services report, recommendation that the report be received, former Victor Sale yards, that council proceed with the compulsory acquisition of the land described as Lot 328 DP 727843, shown on the diagram attached as AT1, for the purpose of creating an industrial land precinct in accordance with sections 186 and 187 of the Local Government Act, and in accordance with the Land Acquisition Just Terms Compensation Act 1991. Further, that council make an application to the Minister and the Governor for approval to acquire the land described as Lot 328 DP 727843, shown on the diagram attached as AT1, by compulsory process under section 186, subsection 1 and 187 of the Local Government Act 1993, for the purpose of industrial land precinct in accordance with the requirements of the Land Acquisition Just Term Compensation Act 1991. Further, that the land is to be classified as operational in accordance with section 31, subsection 2 of the Local Government Act 1993. Further, that for the purposes of section 30 of the Land Acquisition Just Terms Compensation Act 1991, the council agrees that the land being acquired for compensation at the value determined by Valuation New South Wales. Further, the council delegate to the general manager or his delegate the power to do anything further as necessary to give effect to the compulsory acquisition, including obtaining any necessary approvals and publishing any necessary notices in the Gazette. Further, that authority be granted to the General Manager to affix the common seal of the Council to any documentation required to give effect to this resolution. Further, that the General Manager is authorised to negotiate the subdivision and sale of parts of the acquired land for industrial purposes. Further, that the staff arrange for the loan guarantee arrangement with the Regional Australia Bank to be expanded to include business loans, subject to borrowers meeting the RAB's normal loan criteria other than a deposit shortfall. Hired grader purchase. That Council proceed with the purchase of Caterpillar 150M grader for $436,994.01, excluding GST, from Westtrack Proprietary Limited without inviting tenders due to substantial rebates and higher fees representing extenuating circumstances that would not result in a satisfactory outcome being achieved by inviting tenders. Management of pools at Bingara Riverside Caravan Park. That the Council offers 3 short-term licences, each for a 12-month period, to Terry Melbourne Pool Management Services for the management of the Bingara War Memorial Pool Bars, the Warrialda War Memorial Pool, and the Riverside Caravan Park Bingara. Bingara office replacement. That the tendered price increase is noted. Alternate route Warrialda bypass. That Council continues to seek endorsement of the IULA by the Gomeroi people until 1st of September 2024. Further, that in the event the Gomeroi people authorise the ILUA by the 1st of September 2024, it is presented to Council for endorsement at the first subsequent meeting of Council. Further, that in the event the Gomeroi people do not authorise the ILUA by the 1st of September 2024, that Council seeks to maintain the intent of the proposed Gomeroi people ILUA by protecting Aboriginal cultural heritage on Park Lot 7, shown bound in red on the plan at AT1, and where possible providing opportunities for the Gomeroi people to continue to be consulted in relation to Aboriginal cultural heritage. Further, the Council proceeds with the compulsory acquisition of Lot 1, being Lot 7007 DP 1021212, and Lot 2, being Park Lot 7029 DP 1030044, and Lot 5, being Park Lot 7311 DP 1136740, shown in attachment AT1, for a future public road in accordance with section 177 of the Roads Act 1993 and in accordance with the Land Acquisition Just Terms Compensation Act 1991. Further, that Council makes an application to the Minister and Governor for approval to acquire Lot 1, Lot 2, Lot 5, shown at AT1, in accordance with section 172, subsection 178, subsection 2 of the Roads Act 1993, and in accordance with the Land Acquisition Just Terms Compensation Act 1991. Further, that Council proceed with the compulsory acquisition of Lot 6 and Lot 7, being Park Lot 7311, DP 1136470, shown at AT1, for the purposes of creating facilities ancillary to the operation of a road, an industrial land precinct, cultural heritage, Aboriginal cultural significance, and recreation in accordance with section 186 and 187 of the Local Government Act 1993 and in accordance with the Land Acquisition Just Terms Compensation Act 1991. Further, the Council will make an application to the Minister and Governor for approval to acquire Lot 6 and Lot 7, shown in AT1, in accordance with sections 186 and 187 of the Local Government Act 1993 and in accordance with the Land Acquisition Just Terms Compensation Act 1991. Further, that in the event the ILUA is not authorised by the Gomeroi people by the 1st of September 2024, Council makes the said application in 7, confirming the previous, confirming that the purpose of the compulsory acquisition is to confer rights and interests in relation to the land to be acquired on Whitershow Council in accordance with section 26, subsection 1, subsection C, I, of the Native Title Act 1993 to enable Council to develop facilities auxiliary to the operation of a road, to develop an industrial land precinct, to develop a recreation area, and to protect a culturally important area. Further, the Council agrees to the land being acquired for compensation at the market value of the land to an amount determined by the valuer general. Further, that the mineral reservation currently on title be accepted from the acquisition. Further, that the part of lot 7 shown bound in red in AT1 is to be classified as community land in accordance with section 31 subsection 2 of the Local Government Act 1993. Further, that lot 6 and the rest of lot 7 is to be classified as operational land in accordance with section 31 subsection 2 of the Local Government Act 1993. Further, that Council delegates to the General Manager or his delegate the power to do anything other than anything further as necessary to give effect to the compulsory acquisition, including obtaining any necessary approvals and publishing any necessary notices in the Gazette. Further, that authority be granted to the General Manager to affix the common seal of the Council to any documentation required to give effect to this resolution. One last item, the General Manager's performance review. The recommendation is that the positive performance review of the General Manager is noted, and further that the General Manager's salary increase from 1st of July 2024 in line with the 3.5% award increase. I always feel like I'm in an episode of Yes Prince.
So, somebody likes to move that be put in the argument. Councillor Galvin, Councillor Egan, are there any questions? No questions? Put the motion, those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Yes, no. There'll be plenty of opportunity, I suppose, on the 24th to say things.
I got a bloody lot to say about you.
Yeah, well, I'm working on it, but I do thank you all very much. It's been a great team. I'll close the meeting. Be perfectly closed.